I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, I'm honored to introduce you to a very talented author by the name of Celeinnne Ysunza, and she has written a profound book. It is called From Shattered Innocence to Radiant Healing, a journey of transformation through forgiveness and compassion. This is a very moving autobiography recounting her harrowing experiences from early childhood through a transformative healing process, emerging from trauma into a life of forgiveness and understanding. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank our team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her thought-provoking work. The links are below this interview. Celeinnne, thanks so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you. I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you.
This is an important book. We were talking a little bit before we started recording about everybody has challenges, everybody has traumas, everybody has crosses to bear. Some are big, some are little. You had more than your fair share, and you emerged from the darkness and into the light. Is that what inspired you to write your story and share your story to help others?
Absolutely. I really never intended to write it. I started out many years ago thinking, because my kids and I, we've had our dynamics, as we all do.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I don't want them to hear my story and think, oh, she had it better than I did or something like that. And I thought, if I just left little nuggets that maybe they could say, find the compassion that I found for Pauline and Frank, my birth parents. And because I know how transformative it is to forgive. So that's kind of how it started out. And it didn't really plan to go into a book at all. And so I've always been writing, and writing is a form of therapy. Then I had some friends who had read my writings, and they said, do you have anything bigger? Because it was mostly just like little thoughts and poetry type stuff. I said, I've got this thing I've been writing for my children. What do you think? And they said, oh my gosh, that's so inspiring. And I said, really? So anyway, that's kind of how it started. And I began to think, well, how do you write a book? Because I've taken classes. I have all these books, but writing is not easy. Yeah. It's not easy. And my adopted mother was a writer and an author, and I used to help her and watch her, and she'd never quit editing. And I go, but Jane, it's perfect. No, not ready. So anyway, that began about 6 years ago, and I kept writing and rewriting. I kept saying, really, who cares, Anyway, I think most people who do a memoir go through that. Does it really matter?
Yeah.
So,
well, I think your book certainly does matter. It's such an important book. You talked about your adoptive mother. You also had biological parents, and in the book you talk about lovingly divorcing yourself from one's biological parents.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about that and why it's important and why it was important to you.
Well, it was important to me because I had so much really scary trauma with my mother, not my father. He just abandoned me over and over and over.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was intense hatred. And I, as a child, had to live in an outerverse to survive because I had no people to shelter me. And I've just always kind of believed in angels, and I believed that there's a God, and I've always believed that there's something more to life than we're seeing. And that's kind of how I got through the really scary times as a child. But what this process is about, it's Bob Hoffman, who's now gone, and he has the Hoffman Institute, which has become international. I didn't even know that till I was writing this book. And I don't know how, to this day, he did what he did. I only know it worked. I don't know how he created an institute where he trains other people. I honestly don't know how he did it. Yeah. But the idea is, we are all, when you think about it, we come out of that womb and we're so tied to our parents, especially the mother. But the father is very important. The father really gives us the imprint, we women. And they're both very, very powerfully important. But when you have have a lot of trauma and dysfunction and toxicity, we carry that within us. And his therapy is, we want you to lovingly separate, divorce from your mother and your father. And that's not just because I was abandoned, it's everybody. Because we all carry those scripts and those imprints that affect us and hold us back. They're like tethers. We know we can be great at something, but we have that programming that said, oh, you're never going to amount to anything. You're not really, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So that's really the idea behind it. Let's cut those tethers because we're magnificent beings. And when we get rid of all that, and that's what I found, I could rise and I could see the world and life as this incredible, it's incredible. And we don't need to be down here at this lower level. So he did it. And when I first met him, and he said, we're going to do a process. And he told me what it was. I said, I'm not here for them. I said, I am here for me. I was very adamant, and I want nothing to do. I don't want to hear their names. I mean, I said, I hate my mother so much. I would kill her if she walked in right now. I mean, I said, I have hate in my heart. So he listened, and I said, and I'm not staying if that's what it's about. So he listened, and he said, will you just listen to one thing? I said, what? He said, this is going to benefit you more than it's going to benefit them. So we are here for you. And of course, we went through all this, and I still can't believe how it dissipated. It just totally dissipated. And with that, it was because somehow he got me to compassion and to understand that they, like most of us, are damaged children in adult bodies, trying to perform the perfection we expect from adults.
Exactly.
And it's magic. I don't know how he did it. I only know he did it. Yeah. And what it did for me after that, because and here's the thing, I think we all have that drive to survive. We all do. And my story really is everybody's story to some extent or another. But we also have this subliminal, subconscious thing in us that's like a magnet searching answers for the bigger picture of life. Why? Especially when we're going through bad times.
Yeah. You've touched on so much, and so much of it, I think will connect with a lot of our viewers. Do you think a lot of it obviously is generational, that, if your mother abused you, it's likely she was abused by her mother. That's the lexicon she was given, and now she's using it on you. Like the phrase, you'll never amount to anything. I almost smiled when I did smile when you said that, because my mother would say that to me too. If she didn't like something, you're never going to amount to anything. You're going to be a failure.
Oh, no.
But that's almost generational, don't you? I mean, I've never spoken to my children like that in my entire life. I've never raised a hand against them, and I never would. Yeah. But that wasn't the same with my upbringing. I was, able to divorce myself from that, like you did. But I think it was generational that, those people believed in spare the rod, spoil the child, children are to be seen and not heard, and all of that stuff, right?
And especially generational, especially my generation, my parents, my grandparents, our generations, yours probably came from another country. I learned my father's father came from Germany, my mother's father, and I don't know about her mother. But the deal with my mother was her father was a very strict German from Germany. And I think he just damaged her. Yeah. He damaged her without realizing, like you say, you came from a culture and a generation, children would be heard, and you whipped them into shape.
Exactly. And one person's strict parent today would be one person's abusive parent.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the thing. So breaking free was, helpful to you, actually turned around your life. It was transformative, really, more than helpful. Right. And tell us a little bit about your adoptive family and their path in helping you on your road to recovery and self-discovery.
Well, I wish I had met them earlier, but I truly believe everything happens in perfect timing. It really, the universe is incredible. And I almost didn't get to meet them. And I have to say, even going through this process of preparing the book and preparing to talk with you, I can't tell you how grateful I am. And my life wouldn't be half of what it is today without them. And I was only with them 2 years. I went there when I was the day before my 16th birthday. It was like day and night. I'd never met people like them. They were gentle, they were kind, they were supportive, they were loving, and it just made all the difference in the world. And fortunately for me, they said, okay, we'll get this child through high school. And then that's it, we're done. But it turned out we're still family. I mean, the mother and father are gone, but my brother, he's the only one left, but we're still close. And we really developed a beautiful relationship. She ended up being the mother I always was searching for. So even though I was only 16, 17, 18, they were still in my life, because once I got out on my own and I went to college for a while, and then I just, the answers weren't there for me. I always felt like the white rabbit chasing. I'm out of time. I got to find the answers. I've got to get on with life. And then I had a short marriage with 2 children. And when I was there with 2 little babies, that's when the world kind of crashed in on me, because, I may have released and I had certain healing, but I still today have the scars. We live with scars. We all do. Yeah. So we have to learn to live with those. But they were there and they were with me to the very ends of their lives. I had a very special, he was the father that didn't abuse me. There was much more than I put in the book. And she was the gentle mother who, she had to balance between her mother love for her children without them feeling like they were replaced. And it was an interesting dynamic, but we worked through it. And I kind of gave her the space to say, when I said, Jane, I understand now that I'm a mother. And I want you to know that, because I could always sense there was a little bit of guardedness on her part. And I understood that. And I thought that was wonderful, because she's protecting her own children. Yeah. So, I mean, my life went on with them, and they were my family. And, but my life wouldn't be anything like it is today. They supported me. I wasn't prepared for college. And Peter went down to my counselor and said, she said, she's not college material. And he said, you've taken a child from a very disadvantaged background. Let me tell you, she is. Put her in these classes. So long story, I got into college and all that. And she, it was funny. I tell it in the book. Every time I opened my mouth, she was correcting me. And I thought, oh, she hates me. And I thought, why is she doing that? Because I was a really good student and I got B pluses in English. Why is she doing that to me? And I realized I was getting grades, but I'd come from an illiterate background. And honest to goodness, that's the greatest gift I've ever had. She taught me to speak properly. Yeah. And I couldn't have even written the book. This life wouldn't exist without them. So
amazing. It's
so
amazing
the other thing I really
influence and impact that others can have on you, whether it's a kind teacher, whether it's a friend's parent, whether it's a mentor at work. I mean, my bosses worked at a deli when I was a teenager. My bosses were like a second father. They taught me so many things in life. And
that's the third thing I really want to make sure people get, how very important these other people are. When you take a child's hand and you say, come with me, I'm going to help you, you have no idea how you could be changing a child's life. Absolutely. So I want people to get that. If you're a coach or a teacher or anything that you're going to be dealing with children, you're the angel on earth, and really know that.
One of my proudest moments was getting a Father's Day card from one of my son's friends. And I didn't realize the impact I was having on his life, but he wrote a long card thanking me for, just being there and having him in his home and letting him sleep over and giving meals as needed. And because he was going through a divorce and his parents weren't, it's great.
It's those little things that just really make a difference in the human.
Just a little kindness goes a long way.
Goes a long way.
Sure. And particularly for somebody who's thirsting for it. like you
Yes,
were when you
yes,
met your
yes.
adoptive parents. You're thirsting for
Right.
kindness, understanding, and approval. And thank goodness you found someone like that. And thank goodness you found someone and a way within yourself to turn it all around. The name of the book is From Shattered Innocence to Radiant Healing, a journey of transformation through forgiveness and compassionate. This is a wonderful autobiography, but it is much,
Thank you.
much more. It will show you
Thank
a
you.
pathway to turning it all around, to finding healing, and to finding forgiveness, because you need to let the anger, you need to let the pain go so you can be the best you can be. Celeinnne, thank
I
you so
say
much for,
that
go ahead.
forgiveness is freedom,
Mhm.
and forgiveness is healing, and forgiveness is the higher love.
Absolutely.
It's all those things. And the greatest gift you can give anyone is forgiveness, because you also gift yourself.
Exactly. It's a burden
Yeah,
to carry around anger and hatred, for sure.
yeah, it is.
Celeinnne, thank you so much for
Thank
joining us here
you.
on
Thank you
Spotlight.
very much. I'm so honored and pleased to be with you and to meet you finally.
Same
I
here.
love your show. I love the books that you put out.
Thank you so much. And the honor is
Thank,
mine. I enjoyed your book
thank,
immensely, and it's highly recommended. To the folks at
thank you.
home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.